Assalamu alaikum. Today we will discuss the white matter of spinal cord. Like in grey matter, the white matter may be divided into anterior, lateral and posterior white columns, which are also called funiculi. The anterior column on each side lies between the anterior median fissure and anterolateral sulcus, where there is emergence of ventral root of spinal nerve. The lateral funiculus is present between the emergence of ventral root of spinal nerve up to posterolateral sulcus or the entry of posterior nerve root, while the posterior funiculus extends from the posterolateral sulcus or entry of posterior nerve root up to posterior median sulcus. So in this way we can divide the white matter into anterior, lateral and posterior white columns. Then, as in other central nervous system regions, the spinal cord white matter consists of mixture of nerve fibers, neuroglia and blood vessels. And in the spinal cord, it surrounds the central core of grey matter, and its white color is due to high proportion of myelinated nerve fibers. The nerve fibers which are present in the white matter, they are organized and they form tracts. So now what is a tract? A tract may be defined as collection of nerve fibers within central nervous system that connects two masses of grey matter. It may be defined as collection of nerve fibers having the same origin, course and termination. So all the fibers which are present in the white matter, they are organized in the form of bundle of nerve fibers that are called tract. We can divide the tracts into ascending tracts from the spinal cord to higher centers, descending tracts from the higher centers to spinal cord, and intersegmental tracts. First of all, we will discuss the ascending tracts. On entering the spinal cord, the sensory nerve fibers of different sizes and functions, they are sorted out and segregated into nerve bundles or tracts in the white matter, and then they ascend from the spinal cord to higher center. So these tracts connect the spinal cord with the brain. These bundles of ascending fibers are referred to as ascending tracts. In this diagram, we can see the arrangement of ascending tracts within white matter columns of the spinal cord. Both ascending and descending tracts are present on both sides, but in this diagram the ascending tracts are shown on right side, and we can see the tracts which are present in the anterior white column, then the tracts they are present in the lateral white column, and then in the posterior white column. So we can divide the ascending tracts into tracts of anterolateral white column, and these are called posterior column tracts. And in this diagram you can see that in the organization of an ascending tracts, usually 3 neurons are involved from the receptors in the peripheral tissues or skin up to higher centers. The first neuron is almost always present in the dorsal root ganglion. Dorsal root ganglion, that is collection of nerve cell bodies outside the central nervous system. This is a swelling or ganglion which is present on the dorsal root of spinal nerve. So the peripheral processes which carry information from the receptors, they terminate by synapsing in these nerve cell bodies, and the axons of these first order neurons, they will reach the spinal cord at the posterior gray column or posterior horn. The next order neurons or second order neurons are usually present in the spinal cord or some way in the higher centers within brain stem, but these are second order neuron. The third order neuron, the body nerve cell bodies are present in the thalamus. Now thalamus is the relay station for all the sensations except olfaction. सो याद रखें कि जो भी सेंसरी ट्रैक्ट्स आएंगी दे विल रिले इन द थैलेमस. फिर थैलेमस से प्रोजेक्शन फाइबर्स बनते हैं, दे पास थ्रू पोस्टीरियर पार्ट ऑफ इंटरनल कैप्सूल, फाइनली दे फॉर्म कोरोना रेडिएटा, and the axons of these third order neurons in the thalamus finally terminate in the sensory cortex, which is post central gyrus. तो ये एक बेसिक सा एक फॉर्मेशन है इन द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ऑफ असेंडिंग ट्रैक्ट्स. हम जितनी भी ट्रैक्ट्स पढ़ेंगे उसमें फर्स्ट ऑर्डर, सेकंड ऑर्डर एंड थर्ड ऑर्डर न्यूरॉन्स आते हैं. Now in this diagram we can again see from the receptors in the skin or peripheral tissues the peripheral processes of first order neuron. They carry the sensations and synapse in the dorsal root ganglion. Then the central processes from here, they will either synapse in the spinal cord or for some tracts in the brain stem, and these are the second order neurons, and the third order neurons which are present in the thalamus. First of all, we will see the tracts which are present in the anterolateral white column. These are the tracts of pain and temperature that are called lateral spinothalamic tracts. The receptors for the pain and temperature is present in the skin and other tissues as free nerve endings. The pain fibers are of two types: the fast conducting delta A types pain which carry sharp pain, while the slow conducting C fibers for prolonged dull, burning or aching type of pain. The first order neurons are present in the dorsal root ganglion. Their peripheral processes carry the general information from the receptors, while the central processes, they will enter the spinal cord at posterior gray column and terminate by synapsing in the neurons, which is that group cell is called substantia gelatinosa group. Now after that, axons of second order neurons, that means neurons of substantia gelatinosa, the axons cross obliquely to opposite side in the anterior gray and white column. You can see in this diagram they cross to opposite side, they cross obliquely but within one segment of the spinal cord, and reach the lateral white column on opposite side, and then from here they ascend as lateral spinothalamic tract. So the fibers, as the new fibers added, तो प्लीज़ याद रखें कि जो न्यू फाइबर्स ऐड होंगे दे विल बी एडेड ऑन एंट्रोमीडियल एस्पेक्ट. So in the upper segments of spinal cord, the sacral fibers will be lateral and cervical fibers will be on the medial side. Now the fibers ascend through spinal cord and then they reach the medulla oblongata. In the upper part of the medulla oblongata, the lateral spinothalamic tract is joined by anterior spinothalamic tract and spinotectal tract and form a single spinal lemniscus. And then this spinal lemniscus pass through pons, midbrain, and finally it reach the thalamus, where it will terminate in the ventroposterolateral nucleus of the thalamus. From here they form projection fibers which pass through posterior limb of internal capsule, form corona radiata, and finally they will terminate in the post-central gyrus within sensory area. So this is whole of the pathway of lateral spinothalamic tract which carries pain and temperature sensations. Now, as we have discussed, the pain fibers are of two types, the fast pain fibers and the slow C type of pain fibers. The fast pain fibers travel directly up to VPL nucleus of the thalamus. They carry the sensation for fast pain for showing some immediate response, while majority of the slow pain fibers in the lateral spinothalamic tract they terminate in some other areas like in the reticular formation, and when this activates the entire nervous system. And some fibers also terminate in intralaminar nuclei of the thalamus other than VPL nucleus. Then these fibers have important connections with a cingulate gyrus. So it is concerned with emotions, feelings which are associated with severe pain. And we also experience some autonomic responses like nausea, vomiting, sweating when we have severe pain. So these are findings are due to connection of the pain fibers with insula which is concerned with autonomic responses. So आपको ये connections याद रखने चाहिए for the pain fibers. Now few important points which you need to remember. Number 1, posterolateral tract of Lissauer. The axons entering the spinal cord from the posterior root ganglion, they proceed to tip of posterior gray column, and as I have just discussed that these fibers divide into ascending and descending branches. So these branches travel for a distance of 1 or 2 segments of the spinal cord and they form a tract that is called posterolateral tract of Lissauer. Now this tract is well developed in the cervical segments of the spinal cord and it is formed just near the apex of posterior gray horn. Then the next important point regarding spinothalamic tract, please remember this tract consists of crossed fibers, right? And the crossing occurs within one spinal segment of the cord. अब इस पे मैं इतना emphasis क्यों कर रही हूँ? When we will study the injuries of the spinal cord, then we will discuss it. The next important point you can be asked in the viva is what is spinal lemniscus. As I have just told you that when the lateral spinothalamic tract reaches upper medulla, it is accompanied by two other tracts. The one is anterior spinothalamic tract, we will discuss it soon, and then spinotectal tract. These three tracts, they are united together and they form a single spinal lemniscus. There are two terms which are used for these bundle of fibers. One is lemniscus and the other is fasciculus. The lemniscus is the word which is used when the tract is flat, ribbon-like, while when it is rounded, it is called fasciculus. So spinal lemniscus is formed in the upper part of medulla oblongata and it is formed by anterior and lateral spinothalamic tracts with spinotectal tract. Then as the tract ascends through the spinal cord, new fibers are added to anteromedial aspect of the tract. So the sacral fibers are lateral and cervical fibers are medial. ये फैक्टर भी इफ़ेक्ट करता है जब हम पढ़ेंगे इंजरीज और लीजन्स ऑफ द स्पाइनल कॉर्ड. The next ascending tract is anterior spinothalamic tract, the touch and pressure pathways. The receptors for the anterior spinothalamic tract are the same free nerve endings. The first order and second order neurons are also same. The dorsal root ganglion, the second order neuron, is in present in the substantia gelatinosa group. Then this tract is also consist of crossed fibers. The fibers cross very obliquely to opposite side in the anterior gray and white commissures and reach to contralateral anterior white column. Now this crossing occurs obliquely within 2 to 3 segments of spinal cord. यानी अगर फाइबर्स इस लेवल पे एंटर हुए हैं तो दे विल असेंड फॉर 2 or 3 segments above before they cross obliquely to opposite side, and then these fibers will continue as anterior spinothalamic tract. Now in this diagram you can see the pathway of anterior spinothalamic tract. After the fibers enter through dorsal root ganglion in the posterior gray column, cross obliquely to opposite side and then ascend in the anterior white column. They pass through spinal cord, lower part of medulla oblongata. In the upper part of medulla they are joined by lateral spinothalamic and spinotectal tracts to form spinal lemniscus. Then it passes through pons, midbrain and finally terminate in the VPL nucleus of the thalamus. From here the next order fibers form projection fibers, pass through posterior limb of internal capsule, form corona radiata and then they terminate in the sensory area in post central गायरस. सो हर जो असेंडिंग ट्रैक है उसका इनिशियल पार्ट और टर्मिनेशन आलमोस्ट सेम है और दरमियान के पाथवेज थोड़े से आपने देखने हैं. द इंटीरियर स्पाइनोथैलेमिक ट्रैक कैरीज स्क्रू टच एंड प्रेशर. Lesions of the spinothalamic tracts. The injury to lateral spinothalamic tract produces loss of pain and temperature sensations below the level of lesion on the opposite side of the body because the tract consists of crossed fibers. The patient will not respond to pinprick or recognize hot and cold objects when placed in contact with the skin. The anterior spinothalamic tract carries light touch and pressure, so the destruction of this tract produces again contralateral loss of light touch and pressure sensations below the level of lesion. So the patient will not feel the light touch of a piece of cotton placed against the skin or feel pressure from blunt object placed against the skin. The next is spinotectal tract. The first order neurons for the spinotectal tract are again present in the dorsal root ganglion. Axons enter the spinal cord from the posterior root ganglion and travel to posterior gray column where they synapse with some unknown second order neurons. So second order neurons क्या हैं? This is unknown. After that, axons of the second order neuron cross the median plane and ascend as spinotectal tract on the contralateral side of the white column as spinotectal tract. This spinotectal tract, the fibers when reach the upper part of medulla oblongata, again the same course, they are joined by the spinothalamic tracts both anterior and lateral and form spinal lemniscus. But the termination of the tract is different. After passing through medulla oblongata and pons, they terminate by synapsing with neurons in the superior colliculus of the midbrain. Now superior colliculus is a nucleus which is present in the midbrain in the part that is called tectum. That's why this tract is known as spinotectal tract. and superior colliculus is associated with the visual pathways. This pathway means spinotactile tract provides afferent information for spino-visual reflexes. So it brings about movement of the eyes and head towards the source of stimulation. That is called spino-visual reflexes, which are mediated by superior colliculus and higher pathways along with this spinotactile tract. So far I have discussed the spinothalamic pathways which will terminate in the sensory area of cerebral cortex in postcentral gyrus. But some sensory information has to reach the cerebellum also, like joint position, tension in the muscle, capsule, etc. These pathways which carry this information from the spinal cord to cerebellum, they are called spinocerebellar pathways. The unconscious muscle joint sense goes to cerebellum, while the conscious muscle joint sense go to thalamus by fasciculus gracilis and fasciculus cuneatus, the posterior column tracts we will discuss. But these tracts, the spinocerebellar pathways, carry the unconscious muscle joint sensation, means proprioception, to cerebellum and ipsilateral cerebellum. The cerebellum controls the ipsilateral side of the body. Two tracts are related to these pathways. These are dorsal and ventral spinocerebellar tracts. So first is dorsal spinocerebellar tract. The receptors are Golgi tendon organs, muscle spindles and pressure receptors. The first order neuron is again in the dorsal root ganglion. The axons pass in the posterior root, enter the posterior gray column, and synapse on the neurons in the nucleus dorsalis, which is called Clark's column. The axons of these second order neurons enter the posterolateral part of the white column of the same side. So क्योंकि जो सेरिबेलम है ये इप्सिलेटरल साइड पे कंट्रोल करता है, ये फाइबर्स क्रॉस नहीं करे. This tract consists of uncrossed fibers. They will ascend on the same side as posterior spinocerebellar tract up to medulla oblongata, from where it joins the inferior cerebellar peduncle to reach the cerebellum. The tract joins the inferior cerebellar peduncle and terminates in the cerebellar cortex in specific area that is called vermis. Now in this diagram, this is dorsal spinocerebellar tract, which ascends on the posterior part of lateral gray column on the same side and ascends up to medulla oblongata, from where it joins the inferior cerebellar peduncle. Now what is inferior cerebellar peduncle? Inferior cerebellar peduncle basically bundle of white matter, means fibers that connect the brainstem to cerebellum. The superior, middle and inferior cerebellar peduncles we will study with cerebellum. So what is the function of dorsal spinocerebellar tract? It carries muscle joint information to cerebellum for the coordination of limb movements and the maintenance of posture. It carries this proprioceptive information from the trunk and lower limb parts of the body. Few important points to remember: that cerebellum controls ipsilateral side of the body, and we have studied in the structure of gray matter that nucleus dorsalis or Clark column extends only from the 8th cervical to 3rd or 4th lumbar segments of the spinal cord. So the axons which enter the spinal cord from the posterior root of lower lumbar and sacral segments, where will they go? They will actually ascend in the posterior white column until they reach the third or fourth lumbar segment, where the Clark's column or nucleus dorsalis starts, and then they enter the nucleus dorsalis and synapse there. This is an important point which is frequently asked in Viva. And please remember that there is no crossing of fibers, as cerebellum controls on the ipsilateral side of the body. This is uncrossed track. The next is ventral spinocerebellar tract. It is also present in the lateral white column. The receptors are same. The first order and second order neurons are same. But most axons of the second order neurons cross to opposite side and ascend as anterior spinocerebellar tract in the contralateral white column. The fibers having ascended through medulla oblongata and pons enter the cerebellum through superior cerebellar peduncle and terminate in the cerebellar cortex. But those fibers that crossed over to opposite side in the spinal cord, they will cross back within cerebellum and they reach the ipsilateral side of the cerebellum from where the tracts start. It also takes muscle joint information from the lower limb. Then lesion of the spinocerebellar pathways will result in loss of unconscious proprioception to cerebellum, and it will result in ipsilateral loss of muscle coordination. We will discuss it in detail with the cerebellum. So far we have studied that spinocerebellar pathways, the dorsal and ventral spinocerebellar tracts carry proprioception. But both these tracts carry proprioception from the lower limb. Then what about upper limb proprioception? And another thing is that the nucleus dorsalis or Clark column, which extends from C8 to L3, L4 level. For the lower segments, we have studied that the axons or fibers, they will ascend in the spinal cord and until they reach the L3, L4 level where the nucleus dorsalis is present. But what about the cervical segments, as the upper limit of Clark's column is C8? It does not extend above the lowest cervical level. So the proprioceptive information from the upper limb travels along fasciculus cuneatus. We will study the fasciculus cuneatus in the posterior column tracts. Then some of the fibers which carry proprioception from the upper limb, they will terminate in accessory cuneate nucleus. The accessory cuneate nucleus is present posterior to main cuneate nucleus in the medulla oblongata. So the some of the proprioceptive fibers which have to reach the cerebellum, they will terminate in this accessory cuneate nucleus. And then axons of these nerve cells are called posterior external arcuate fibers, and these fibers form cuneocerebellar tract from the cuneatus nucleus to cerebellum. That's why it is called cuneocerebellar tract. It terminates on the ipsilateral cerebellum by passing through inferior cerebellar peduncle. This tract also carries proprioceptive information but from the upper limb. So the proprioception from the upper limb is carried by cuneocerebellar tract. So far we have studied the important ascending tracts which are present in the anterolateral white column. In our next class we will discuss the posterior column tracts. Thank you so much.